Hi, everybody. Ross the Boss here, and I'm live from La La Land Lipsticks. See, I'm live with Casey. Glad to the bone. Blindfold. We're here to talk waiver wire baseball. We have people you should pick up. We have people that you should drop. We have people that you should even think about because it's over 60%. We can't even talk about those people, but we will anyway. Casey, how are you? How's the weather in Pennsylvania? What's going on?
Well, it's nice today. It was a rough weekend, but it looks a lot nicer where you are.
It's always sunny in California. You know that.
I know.
It's always beautiful here in Los Angeles. You know how it goes.
Despite the name of the show, it's not always sunny in Philadelphia. I can tell you that.
I get it. I get it. So we're is it week 7 we're in, Casey?
6, I believe.
Week 6. God, time flies. We're in May. And as I mentioned before, D-Day is Memorial Day. That's when you should really clear out all the bad players and move in all the good players and chasing people's stats from last year. Casey, injuries. Trey Turner went down last week. Huge.
6 weeks, they're saying.
6 weeks for Trey Turner. Philly star. I mean, who's taking his place? I guess you keep him on waiver wire, but you keep him on injury reserve. But long story short, I mean that's a huge loss for many owners. I assume. Yeah,
that's huge.
Other big news: Paul Skees, the flamethrower, who I think is the best player, the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. He's not even pitching right now, but they moved him up to AAA, and he gave up his first home run. I know
that means that just buys the Pirates another month.
I mean, I think he's the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. I mean, that I can say that right now. If I had
he might have the best stuff. I don't know if I'd call him the best pitcher.
Well, I think it's a shame that the Pirates are smoking. I don't know what they're doing. I get it, but why isn't this kid pitching? I mean, in Major League Baseball, why is he pitching for Oklahoma City? Any idea?
Because Pittsburgh is notoriously bad at figuring out a way to compete and managing their prospects.
I guess good point, Casey Sheinfeld. Good point. So in baseball, Casey, as you know, it's a game of numbers. It's a lot of mathematics. I mean, you can't not look at your math skills to use during fantasy baseball. It's a very mathematical sport compared to baseball, compared to football or basketball or any other fantasy sport. Casey, let's talk waiver wire. Let's talk who you're picking up. Tell me who tops your list this week in waiver wire pickup. Go.
Who tops my list? That's a hard one. I think I've got a couple. Obviously, I like to talk about the young players. You have Jordan Beck coming up this week. You had Loper Fido coming up this week. Kyle Manzardo just came up. But there's a kid in Tampa Bay, and it's not Junior Caminero that everybody should be talking about, and that's Johnny DeLuca.
I love his name. He sounds like a gangster.
I don't know if he's related to Paul DeLuca.
He'll take the situation for you.
I don't know if he's related to DeLuca, the catcher, but it's a great name. Anyway, all he's done in his first 4 starts.
The catcher who went to I forgot what college he went to. Tell me again.
University of Arizona.
No, at Arizona State, but keep going.
In his first 4 games, 5 for 15 with 10 RBIs and only 2 strikeouts. So, I mean, they just got Tampa's going to be an exciting team again. I think they were counted out a little early. I might be one of them because you got Josh Lowe, who came back on Monday. You got this kid coming up. Junior Caminero's knocking on the door. Imagine how good they'd be if their famous shortstop didn't get caught with underage women. They'd be a pretty scary team, right? They'd be a pretty scary team right now. I like him. I also like Bryce Wilson in Milwaukee as a failed reliever turned to a starter. I don't know how long it's going to last, but ride him while he's hot. Tristan McKenzie has put up some good outings in consecutive starts here, and we know that the strikeout stuff is real. Josh Rojas, who was always effective in Arizona when given a playing time, is the leadoff hitter for Seattle right now against right-handed starters, and he's getting on base. He's batting over 300, scoring a ton of runs, so that's somebody else you can look at.
I like those picks. What's your thoughts on Christian Scott for the Mets?
Kid from the Mets? He's their top pitching prospect. I like him. I don't know. He had his first start? Didn't he get called up and have his first start? I don't know what the
His
numbers were
first
on that.
start, he pitched pretty well.
You know, look. I've admitted my bias for 3 years. I'm a prospect and young player guy, so I like him a lot. I don't trust the Mets to do anything with anybody right now, so I don't know. I mean, remember they were supposed to be the great rotation last year with Verlander and Scherzer, and they managed to get them both hurt. So I like him. I would certainly put him on my list. I wouldn't put him into my lineup right away. He'd be a matchup guy until he proves that he's consistent. He's in a good home park for pitchers. That helps. But I actually like Brett Beatty on the Mets right now better as a pickup than I do Christian Scott, because I think third base is a little rough right now. And he's been, what has he been doing the last week? I have it here somewhere.
He's been hitting the ball pretty well. The Mets, though, they just lose every game. I mean, the Mets are just horrible. I mean, they're just not a good team. I wish I can get excited about the Mets.
And how about John Means in Baltimore, the starting pitcher?
Remember,
this guy 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago was considered in the Cy Young vote for how well he was pitching. Went down with Tommy John. He just came back, and in his first start, 7 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts, less than it's a .43 WHIP in the win. So it looks like he might be back to knowing how to pitch. So that's somebody I would certainly look at because you want pieces of Baltimore. Let's be honest. They're just a fun team to have pieces of right now.
I mean, Casey, they're just, for me, they're the best team in the American League, but they're also the best team to watch. I mean, there's so many.
They're the most fun to watch. Yeah, I don't think they're I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're a Yankee fan, so you're prejudiced. I get it. Trust me. Our cover guy this week, I did the cover this week. I picked a Cleveland Guardian. Kyle, I'll mess up his name. Manzardo. Did I say that right?
Manzardo, yeah.
Now, you've been following him for a long time in minor league baseball.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old. He was tearing it up in AAA. He came up yesterday, struck out 3 times in 3 at-bats. I wouldn't make a big deal about his first game. It's not a big deal. But, I mean, do you think it's somebody? I see him DHing. I see him playing first when Yale needs some time off.
I think he's going to.
What's your take on him?
I like him. He has been struggling a little bit. He wasn't even doing that. I mean, he had gotten hot, and he started off slow in the minors and got hot lately.
He had 9 home runs in the minors.
Yeah, he got hot in the last. Okay. But look, he's a top prospect for a reason. Good bat to ball skills, decent power. He's not going to be a 40 home run guy. He's not going to be kind of like a juiced Jason Giambi type. He's more in that, can put up 25 to 30 home runs, have it probably closer to 25, have a decent on-base average. If you're in an on-base league, that's better. Not a speed guy really, so I wouldn't look for him to run, but he can contribute. He certainly can, and that Guardians team is outperforming what everybody thought they would this year. So who am I to judge? But Manzardo is, if you need a first baseman, because a lot of first basemen are struggling, it's not a bad one to go for.
I was kind of picking him up. A lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of first basemen are not playing up to the potential right now. So I'm thinking about benching a few first basemen.
Yeah, I mean, think about who the guys people were targeting outside of, the Freddie Freemans of the world, who are just, and he's Freddie Freeman, right? But like you think of people were hoping Spencer Torkelson would be good, or Vinny Pasquantino would be good. These guys are hitting right around 200. Torkelson doesn't even have a home run. Where did he go to college again? That he doesn't have a home run yet this year?
Pick of Arizona State. There you go.
Yeah.
And then that I'm kind of low on is Edwin Encarnacion Strand, another guy that
Christian Encarnacion Strand.
Christian, he's not Jewish, and he actually is playing way under what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, considering what we saw from him out of the minors last year, and the way you and I talked about him in June and July as regards to the crime it was not calling him up. You would have hoped, he's not a bust the level of Ellie De La Cruz, but he's close.
Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz could be MVP.
Should be if the season ended today.
Yeah, let's talk outfielders. I know never thought I would ever say this to you, but somebody that is playing great baseball that could be available in your league is Brent Rooker, not Hooker, Brent Rooker of the Oakland A's. what's your thoughts on Rooker? I mean, last year he had a good power surge for a couple of months, then he died down. But
Yeah,
this year,
I mean,
he's hitting okay. And the A's are not going to lose like 100 games. They might lose 80 games, but they're not going to lose 100 games. They're
right. And
actually
it doesn't mean, look, if they're scoring 1 or 2 runs a game, somebody has to drive them in, right? So there's potential there. And Rooker was good last year. He knows how to barrel up the ball. He's, you know, I don't think it's a terrible, especially if you're dealing with some of these outfielders who are underperforming right now. You know, he's a good guy to ride while it's the hot hand. By the way, Uncle Ted, thanks for joining us. He's a big fan of your new haircut there, buddy.
My quick story. My daughter's graduating. Yep, she's graduating from college next week.
Mazel tov.
So the first thing the wife said is, "You better cut your hair, look nice for the photos." So I went yesterday and got a trim. She's graduating at Ben Roethlisberger's alma mater at Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio, yeah.
Which is great. I'm excited, which means both my kids are college graduates and I don't have to pay for college anymore, which is a good sign. And so it's a good thing. Thanks for the haircut. That's good.
So other outfielders, Brian De La Cruz is doing pretty well. They're down in Miami, not hitting, ironically, only one home run, and he's known for just his exit velocity, but not a great average. He has a 308 average, but only 1 home run. Tommy Pham, the guy's got 2 home runs since he's come back for the White Sox, and somebody's got to drive some White Sox in. And Wilyer Abreu, I'm a fan of him in Boston. He hasn't put the power numbers up, but he scores runs, he steals bags, and he will get some power numbers for you.
I like it. Anybody else we should talk about? I don't want to sound bad, but I do have to cut the show short today. So I just want to make sure we get our waiver wire picks out to the public.
Okay.
So everybody knows what's going on.
Sure. I'll give you a couple more. He's at 64% owned, but one of your favorites, Jack Flaherty, has been awesome the last few weeks. I mean, he's just been a great pitcher, and he's at 64%. So it's a little over the line. We like the threshold at 60, but I'd be crazy not to mention him. And then Matthew Liberatore, who was a top prospect for St. Louis, called up last year, didn't do great. His last start was pretty excellent. 8 strikeouts and 5 2/3, only allowing a run. So that's somebody else you can target. And Justin Lawrence, the closer in Colorado. We stay away from Colorado pitchers, but Justin Lawrence seems to be running away with the closer job there. And somebody's got to get saves and close runs. So saves are hard to come by. He's the guy to target.
Love it. And I as I mentioned before, I really love Jose Butto of the Mets. He's been pitching like a madman this year. I also think my last point is Broxton Garrett of the Marlins. Braxton reached yesterday 12 Ks in his minor league start.
Yeah, he's always had elite stuff. It's control has been his issue.
Yeah,
so he's controlling it.
If he's available in the league, I would pick him up now. He's going to make his major league start next week. Bueller came back last night. Didn't look that great, but give him a couple starts, he'll be fine.
It's okay. He threw 96 miles per hour. Remember, his issue was he was losing velocity. So if he can maintain and sustain his velocity, the kid knows how to pitch. He's just a winner. And so you got to bet on that.
Okay, so
go ahead.
So that's the waiver wire picks we have for the week. The pickups you should concentrate on. We'll be back on Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, with Dr. Dan Ratner. We'll talk more strategy. We may throw in a couple waiver wire ideas in there. But I was happy about this week. We only had 1 major injury when Trey Turner, and stay off that DL. But again, I mean, it's an up and down season with injuries, and it's been hard. It's been kind of hard to navigate. Oh, Evan Phillips is out too for the Dodgers. Forgot about that. That's another big loss.
Do they still is Brusdar Graterol? Who's coming into close form? Graterol?
No, Graterol is out for another 60 days. It's Trident. Trident's gonna do it. Blake Trident is gonna
target him. Yeah.
So target him. I think he'll close. There might be a committee thing going on. You may want to check, but I like Trident. That's who I picked up. But I'm Ross the Boss. I love talking sports with you, and I'll see everybody on Thursday. Casey, always good seeing you.
Ross, love the new setup.